Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday. I don't see anybody here for invocation today, so we can start with the pledge if you want to join me in that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I would entertain a motion on approval of the minutes of September 8th to 10th.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes of last week. Any comments, questions, corrections? Okay, I'm seeing none, so we'll call for a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I happened to be, I was at Castle Rock City Council not yesterday, but the previous Monday. And Daughters of the American Revolution were in and Castle Rock did a proclamation on signing of the Declaration of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States. So we talked about it and we decided we'd do the same thing. So we're gonna read a proclamation before the Board of Commissioners, Calais County, in the matter of declaring September 17th to 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week. The Constitution was actually signed September 17th, which would be tomorrow, 1787. Whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Therefore, the Calais County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaim the week of September 17th to 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves, signed on this day of September 2025. And that'll be signed by the Board of Calais County Commissioners. I think the time she gave was like 1:20 or something in the afternoon on September 17th. That's what the bell's for. Okay, we'll run through consent agenda. Call for bids. We have a call for bids, 3,000 tons of 3/8 screen sand to be stockpiled at the road shop sites in Longview, Kelso, Klamath, and Castle Rock. This is, and I gave them crap for this yesterday. This is for winter preparation. I said it's too early to talk about winter, but so request for qualifications as needed water and sewer engineering services scheduled. This is scheduled for October 15th, 2025 at 4 p.m. This would be a 3-year contract. We're in the last one was a 3-year contract. We have a 1-year extension we could do. So the last contract we were under was 4 years. So we're out for bids on a new contract. Agreements, contracts, bid awards. Amendment number 4 with NAFCARE to extend the contract through October 30th, 2025 to provide healthcare services to Calais County Corrections. This is one of the things that we're mandated to do in our corrections facility. NAFCARE is leaving the state of Washington. Their contract is actually up at the end of September. We've got a new vendor that we're working on and we'll bring on, but this 1-month extension is needed through October for us to get the contract signed with the new vendor. This 1-month extension, we pay It'll be right around 227,500 for the month of October. 2026 Humana Group Medicare Plan renewal for law enforcement officers and firefighters. This is Plan 1 members. This is a plan that's no longer offered. It's grandfathered, and I think there's probably less than 13 members that are left in this plan with that renewal. Agreement for Special Deputy Prosecutor Services for Elena C. Bundy, attorney with Bundy Law Group, providing professional service to the county with employment law. We've used this gal in the past, and we have a person on retainer that does help with employment law. This is a new firm. We're moving to this firm. We've had some experience with them, and the office over there, the prosecuting office is happy with their work, so moving that direction. Amendment number 5 to the professional service agreement with RH2 Engineering for the Tula Water System Improvement Projects for additional services. We asked for some additional, not in a lot amount, it's an amount of $7,403, makes the total of that project $507,289. We're just about wrapped up with that project, very close. So it was a project to bring the system up to par with everybody, we've been doing some pressure testing and everybody's getting the right pressure now and stuff. So we're just about complete with that project. And we got 3 different resolutions for diking and drainage districts. Resolution certified 2026 budget for Consolidated Diking Improvement District number 3. Resolution certified 2026 budget for Drainage Improvement District number 1. And resolution to certify the 2026 budget for Diking Improvement District number 15. Letters and correspondence. Federal Energy Regular Commission notice dated 9/8/25 regarding version 7.0 of Pacific Power's Owner Dam Safety Program. Executed agreements, contracts, agreements, letters, recorded easements on 2 contiguous parcels at the end of Hanson Road to clarify the right-of-way. This was many years ago, and Susan, correct me if I'm wrong, many years ago, this was turned into a turn there. Yeah, a dead end, and it was done, but at that time, for whatever reason, one of the easements were missing on that, so they're cleaning up some of the paperwork. It's nothing new. It's something that's been done a long time ago. Vouchers last month in an amount of $4,534,619.74. That's consent agenda. Any questions, comments on consent? Okay, I
move approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Excuse me. I'll take one last peek here. Seeing nothing, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Upcoming events. This afternoon at 1:30, we're in budget month basically for the next few months. So we'll be talking about the behavioral health tax at 1:30. IT cost allocation at 2, risk and industrial accident at 2:30, and sheriff allocation for equipment fund at 3. So if you have any interest in that, those meetings are always open to the public, or they're also they're online. You can access them either way. I had a question from, I think Ron had a question for me last week, we have Department of Ecology in on October 21st. And I had lunch, and I mentioned it last week. I had lunch with the gentleman on Wednesday, and we talked about agenda items, and I gave him a couple of things that you're very, very much interested in, and one is the Forest Practices Board and that change on the buffer zones. He actually is, and I'm not making a promise here because he doesn't know for sure. He knows the person on ecology that actually sits on that board, and he's going to try and bring that gentleman with him. So we'll have a conversation on how that's all going. And then we wanted to, I told him, we have a lot of interest, and I know we have a workshop coming up on that, but I think we need to keep pounding on it, is the whole drainage system from St. Helens and their role in that and what needs to be done. So I think that answers the questions. Oh, and Mike had a question on what the date when they're looking at garlic, and I know you told me and I couldn't remember. I thought it was in October, mid to late October. Okay. I'm going to take just before I open it up to public comment, I'm going to just take a minute of privilege, and of course my seatmates can do that also, but you know, I think some of the events that we've seen this past week, not just this past week, but it's been a rough month with kids being shot in a Christian school, a gal for no reason being stabbed and killed on a bus. And then last week we saw Charlie Cook assassinated by what I would classify as a evil coward out there. You know, he wasn't killed for any other reason than he dared to debate the ideology of the radical left. And to add to that, he dared to debate the ideology based on biblical principles. He lived his life on biblical principles. His beliefs on marriage were strictly based out of biblical principles. His belief on the inception of life, that abortion is murder, comes straight from biblical principles. His belief on the sexes that you're a male or a female, and there's no other things. It's all biblical principles, and he was killed for espousing those principles or having those debates with college kids. It's sick and it's twisted, and I don't get it, and it's pretty sad. The state of affairs we see, I can opine on where I think it starts. we were talking a little bit yesterday. I can remember in school back when I graduated in 74. So you're talking early 70s, when a topic would come up that was whatever it was, a national topic. I can remember teachers dividing us into class and we'd have a debate on it. And you learn that stuff. And I don't think that's part of curriculum anymore. I think it's more, I don't know that there's a lot of critical thinking done anymore. There's more than just, this is what it is, and we want you to follow this. So you got minds of mush out there that haven't learned how to think, and they just react to what they're hearing. And you hear this nonsense, Nazis, fascism. If they even had half a brain and look up the definition of that, you would see that none of that applies. But it's gotten so rhetorical, it's just crazy. So Charlie violated two covenants of the radical left. He challenged their beliefs, which you're not allowed to do, and he challenged them through the teachings of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and you're not allowed to do that. So I guess what it tells us is those violations evidently carry the death penalty, and I think it's a sad state for our country, and we need to correct that. Or I don't know where it goes from there. It just needs to be corrected. I have a lot of people that don't agree with me, but I can sit down and have a cup of coffee with them and enjoy them. You can enjoy people without agreeing with them, for crying out loud. Get over yourself. So I just couldn't let it go. One of those things that stick in my mind and, anyway, that's that.
Well, I'll take a minute. Charlie Kirk was somebody who lived and breathed American principles through and through, whether you saw him as a religious leader or a political leader, whether you agreed with him or didn't agree with him. He was a shining example of being an American, being involved and standing up, voicing his opinion and defending it. And even though a lot of people who disagreed with him, they did agree with his principles. They might not have agreed with all of the things he said, and many people debated him, but he was most excellent at his political beliefs, his religious beliefs. He was very well founded in his religious beliefs. One of the things that I see that they seem to be centering in right now is these little toys right here that so many people, they're addicted to this crap that's on here. They can't get away from it, and they start feeding on all the hate and all the stuff that's coming out of there. And from our congressional leaders, some of them standing up and condemning the Supreme Court justices, standing up and condemning our way of life. I don't like the term hate speech, but there is such a thing as inciting a riot and feeding on people's emotions and building up that level of hatred to a point that those people who do that, there's got to be some way to hold them responsible for what they have done. It's destroying us from the inside out. And as some of our highest leaders, supposed to be leaders in this country, that are helping aid that hatred. Charlie Kirk was an American, and he had no reason to be killed by anybody. It's a sad day in our history that things like that are going on. And I don't care who it is. There's no reason for somebody to have to take a bullet for voicing their opinion. That is not okay. So God bless Charlie Kirk and all those who are persecuted to the point of violence. That's absolutely unacceptable. Thank you.
I want to agree with the sentiments of my seatmates and everything that they have said. It's been an emotional week and for the world. This isn't something that people in just America are feeling. It's being felt across the world. But for me in my own home and in my own family, my kids watched Charlie's videos and learned a lot from him, and the conversations that we've had because of what took place are somewhat sombering. And you can, to Commissioner Farrell, to his point about these things right here, you can go on there and you can get on social media and you can see two sides, both defending their position and defending their opinions. And this is America, and you can do that. Charlie Kirk didn't, people talk about his statement about guns and the irony. He didn't die because of the Second Amendment. He died because he exercised the First. And he spoke out. He preached the gospel of love. He preached the gospel of Jesus Christ. And, I learned a valuable lesson when I got called into ecclesiastical leadership during COVID, at the beginning of COVID. And times were very, very contentious, as you all know. Families were separated and tore apart because people wanted masks, people wanted vaccines, people didn't want masks, people didn't want vaccines. And it tore up marriages, families, fathers, sons, friendships. And as an ecclesiastical leader, over a congregation, that was very, very difficult for me to deal with because I had my own personal beliefs. I had my own set of values and morals. And I didn't know what to do. And I pled with the Lord to guide me in leading that congregation in a manner that would be pleasing unto him. And what I got, what the Spirit confirmed to me was, Steve, you're going to have this group of people over here that it doesn't matter what you do, they're going to love you. It doesn't matter what you do. They're going to defend you to the end. And then you're going to have this group of people over here that it doesn't matter what you do, they are not going to like you. You could save their grandchild and they're still not going to like you. I don't want you to worry about the fringes. I want you to focus on the 60% of the people that are coming to church every Sunday, struggling to pay their tithes, struggling to show up to work to do what they need to do to provide for their family, struggling to hold their family together, struggling with their testimony, with their faith. I want you to focus there. And that message resonates with me today. The fringes and the extremes on both sides are hurting us. And this is, when I say both sides, guys, this is a battle for our souls. This is a battle of good and evil. This is not a political battle. The adversary is just using politics as a way to divide us and to conquer us. This is a battle of good and evil, and make no mistake, that is what it is. And what we need to focus on as Americans, whether you're a Christian or not, it makes no difference. The principle still applies. We need to focus on loving our neighbor, because hate begets more hate. Love begets love. And we live in a time, and I'm speaking to myself because I'm dealing with anger. When I saw and heard what happened last week, my blood pressure shot to the top of my head, and I was very angry and I was disgusted and it was awful. But I had to recognize that as an imperfect human being, as someone who is fallible, we are called to a higher law. We are called to love one another, to love our neighbor. Now, that does not mean that I'm going to sit back and allow what is happening to continue to happen. This is definitely a call to action. We can no longer be tolerant of evil being perpetrated on our children, in our schools, our families, our places of work. We can no longer be tolerant of that. But we can still do that in a loving way, as Chairman said. I disagree with my wife and my kids every day, but violence is not the action. And to Commissioner Farrell's point, I can't stand the term hate speech. I can't stand the term gun violence, because guess what? It's all violence. We don't say there's knife violence or that there's car violence or fist violence. Violence is violence. Hate is hate. And words mean things. And as public servants, we need to be held accountable for what we say and the words that we use to describe other people. And we need to be responsible with that. And we need to hold public servants accountable for what they say and the words that they use and the hate that they perpetuate. And that is definitely taking place. I am speaking to myself, and I know that I need to work on, I need to learn to love my neighbor. And it's something that I struggle with. I attended a leadership camp for Christian men. And one of the pictures that they showed us, because this sounds Pollyanna, and if you're watching and listening, I agree with you. It does sound Pollyanna. Steve, you can't do that. That's ignorant. That's naive to think that that can happen. But I do believe hate begets hate. And I want to show you guys this picture, because this picture is proof that love can change people's hearts. The Savior can change people's hearts. This is a picture of a black gentleman baptizing a leader of a Nazi skinhead organization, hugging one another after he baptized him. Hate doesn't get us to that point, guys. Love does. And that is proof that it can happen. but we have to take that first step within our own hearts, within our own minds, and make sure that what is happening within the four walls of our home is leading us to this. That's what I gotta say.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. It's all yours. Did we wear you out?
Good morning. Thank you very much for your comments, because obviously that's what's on all of our minds. And we do have the freedom of speech, but those in positions of leadership have to watch what they say and how they say it. And here's a quote. "Folks, face the truth that this is our new reality. Assassinations are going to continue, that there are unpredicted hate, I think, is out there, and guns are going to be the answer as to whether we continue to seek the ideals of our Constitution, continue our search for a better nation on one side, or Trumpism wins out. We must expect people on both sides to take up arms. That is our future." Jim Hill, City Council, Kelso, 4 days ago, I believe.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's regrettable that he would say something like that publicly.
Well, Jim is a veteran. I don't know if he's a combat veteran, but I will guarantee you that any of us that have been in combat, this is totally opposite to anything that we would ever suggest. Here is a picture and a quote from a website or a Facebook, I guess it is, Lower Columbia Indivisible, whomever that may be. Picture of a MAGA hat. Decades from now, finding a red MAGA hat in a dead relative's trunk will be no different than finding Nazi memorabilia.
Yeah, I saw that one also.
Okay. I spoke to a young lady in Portland on Monday who in 8 hours notice put together, she was involved in a group that put together 400 to 500 people in 8 hours for a, I don't know, tribute, I guess. And her comment to me is, we're not going to put up with this anymore. I think that's the attitude we all have to have.
Good morning, Commissioners. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Hope you're all doing well. This Charlie Kirk thing has brought up a lot of, like everybody. I was really upset when I saw that. But then the story comes out, you start getting these details, especially from our government. And I'm going to say that the best metaphor I kind of got from out of this recently is that we're like wind-up toys. American people are like wind-up toys. They wind us up, they put us down, and that's what's happening now. Now, I've been a victim of these kinds of things myself. Is that the story that we get is not the correct story. And you can point to any one of these things that's happened, 9/11, assassinations, wars. This isn't coming from the right or the left. This comes from a particular group. Now, there is censorship to say anything about this group. They've already put laws in place that you can't boycott this group. So I'm going to try to avoid naming the group, but I'm just encourage you guys to look into the details of this and see where this really comes from. And rather than fighting with each other, or we're not going to take it anymore, yeah, we shouldn't. but it's a particular group that owns our government, owns our banks, and owns us. And it's been this way since before any of us were born. They've been doing this a long time. I'm just saying, you can do the slightest little rabbit hole dig. And this is one of the things for Charlie Kirk. He had started out with these messages, but his opinion changed and he started speaking against this group. And then instantly he's put away. And if you look at these details of this guy who's supposedly, this kid who supposedly just jumped on the roof, assembled a weapon, shot the guy from a distance away, precise shot. But look at the caliber of that. They say it's a 30-06, A 30-06 would take, you wouldn't have a neck left, right? You guys all know that. So I'm just saying, I just real caution about who you're blaming for this, because there are people to blame, but it's not that kid. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to mention Jim Hill is a combat veteran. I'm sorry, I just thought I'd pick up on this because, I talk to Jim on the side sometimes, and we have friendly conversations because he's a paratrooper, 82nd Airborne. He's in Vietnam, re-enlisted in country, made it to E6. And that's why he limps now. He got wounded and got, out of the service that way. But Jim Hill, I have all the respect for his service. Sometimes things he says, it's Jim.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners. In following the previous speaker, one of our chief duties is certainly to seek out the truth in all events. And so as you've all mentioned, we've mentioned all of the stories and what we hope are facts and data, but things change significantly over time. One important thing, though, in today that I was just plain abhorrent to me was seeing the House of Representatives ask for a minute of silence for Charlie Kirk and the hissing and booing among 400 plus representatives that we've selected to represent us. My personal feeling is that they showed no respect for just plain simple individuals like us, et cetera. And anyone that hissed and booed, as far as I'm concerned, should be eliminated, I don't want to use the word, removed from their office immediately. They are not representatives of us and our society and our freedoms and rights.
Anything else?
Oh.
Yeah. Been a tough week.
No, I do want to echo what Tim said. I don't know how many doors I went to and, people right away, are you this or are you that? And I said, no, I'm neither. I'm an American. And, yeah, there's some forces that are playing, awful dirty games behind the scenes. And that cell phone crap is used as a weapon to wind up these toys, like Tim said. So, yep.
Well, I believe there's actually even, wasn't there a court case where a young gentleman was texting with a young lady and he was talking about suicide and she was encouraging him? Didn't she end up going to court? So I mean, you could make the case that, yeah, they are a weapon.
I'll just make a couple things. As you guys know, I go to school board meetings when they start. And I'm super active in trying to get the cell phones out of the classroom, out of the school practically if you can, but I'm not making much headway right now, but I'm not going to give up because I do think that they are a huge, huge factor in the mental illness of our children. They're addicted to it. They're put into easy access of drugs through the phone. And I mean, we have to shield our kids, safeguard have them in a safe place. at school. You have to think that school is safe. You can't think that, my gosh, what are my kids, who are they associating with? What are they doing? Because they're on this phone, they're not paying attention. And that's one of them. But what it points to though, and this is a bigger aspect, is that, and like I say, I am blaming the cell phone a lot, but also there's other aspects as well. We right now are looking at a huge percentage of our population growing up with a mental illness of one sort or another, brought on by different reasons, but of course I'm blaming the cell phone, but there's drugs, alcohol, you name it. There's a lot of reasons. And I think we need to be more prepared than what we are right now. We're getting, there's a lot of angry people is what I guess I'm saying, that are starting to multiply in our area. Have you heard of the term road rage? And I mean, and it's like a condition that we're getting used to, people being angry. And I think that has to somehow be stopped. And I know it's a total different entity, the school and the county. I want them together. I want you guys to have some sort of influence, whether it be through the health, Board of Health or what, on the schools, because this county has to have, I mean, I don't want the state to run our schools. I want us to run our schools, whether it be cell phone or their safety because of, aspect of shooting or whatever. I want us to be more involved in our kids. We have, like I said, an angry generation growing up. I want to put a stop to it somehow. And I'm asking you guys, is there any way that we can, the county can reach out to the schools and have more influence in their decisions instead of the state? Which, I'm sorry, but right now I'm not really happy with the state at all. Thank you.
I had when you talk about cell phones in schools, and I haven't seen this report myself, but I was having a conversation with a gentleman, and it's a person that I have faith that usually, I don't think they purposely tell me things that aren't true. But just as upfront, I haven't seen the report itself, but Arkansas took phones out of the schools. And since that time, I think it happened when Sarah Huckabee became governor, and she took phones out of schools. Since that time, their grade have shown steady improvement, and not only their grades, but their actions, less problems. Now, is that a correlation? I think it has to be at some level. Maybe there's some other things they're doing also that is contributing to that, but I think that certainly, to your point, is if all that is factual, that would be one of the factors. I think it is contributing to that. Anything else? Well, I just want to say God bless all you guys. Thank you for being with us, and we will adjourn.